Hello everybody, my name is Benji, and welcome back to Satisfactory, where if you're paying very close attention, this is not the same intro or not the same setup that we were looking at in the previous video or even the previous stream. And yes, that is because all of the pipes are full of turbo fuel and the generators are burning nice and hot. So in stream, the first thing that we did was finally turn on Orange Heaven. Also, side note, I have a new graphics card. So you can see pretty easily here that the game's running a lot smoother despite how it was running at the end of the previous stream. And you'll also be able to see up here, our power grid is doing a lot better. Even just with the power boost from the alien power augmenter, we're nearly meeting our current consumption. Yeah, well, we're about half, but, you know, semantics, whatever. Most of these generators are running at full bore. Some of them are still having some issues, like toward the back of the line here. You can kind of see that there are some little things that are happening here and there. These guys are also placed wrong, but that's not something I'm gonna worry about right now, because I can't be bothered. Basically, what I need to do is I need to shut down a couple of different parts of the system at a time in order to, like, fully buffer everything, because fluids like to be buffered. You can see, like, this buffer is very happy, this buffer is even happier, this buffer is even happier than that, and this buffer is sad. And some of that also has to do with the fact that these guys aren't getting quite enough fuel toward the end of the manifold here, which is why I have it splitting in the beginning, or rather in the middle there. But you can see that, like, well, I guess maybe not that guy, but this guy is having some issues every now and then. This guy's fine, but, like, every now and then there's just a couple here and there that have some issues, and then same thing with these guys. So really what I should do in order to make this all happen, like, yeah, like, you can see here that there's obviously some kind of a stuttering issue with all of this stuff that's going on. But that's alright. At the end of the day, it is totally a-okay. You know what? I wonder... Nope, that's a Mark II. That's a Mark II. A Mark II, so all that's right. Sometimes there's just these, like, little itty-bitty blips that happen because I placed something wrong or something went wrong. Like, you can see, why are these guys super backed up on compacted coal? And it's because they don't have fuel. And why does it not have fuel? Because something's going wrong here. So really what I need to do is just not be lazy and shut down different parts of the system at a time in order to make sure that everything still runs smoothly. Like, I need to make sure that these are full of heavy oil residue and that these guys are full of fuel, and, you know, really I just need to, like, shut down the system until everything stops, pretty much, and then see, you know, what happens from there. Obviously, the coal and sulfur are still doing great because they are all perfectly split and everything's wonderful. And we've got trains. They're coming in for that. I did a little train, you know, network thing on stream, so I'm not going to do it here. But essentially what these trains do is there's a sulfur node here. So the train goes to the sulfur node. And then it goes to the medium sulfur node, or the normal sulfur node, which is right here. And then it goes all the way down here to this one, which is an impure sulfur node. Oh yeah, it also does aluminum things. We're gonna get to that next. And then it comes the entirety of the way back up here along the side of the coast and all the way back up. And then for the coal, there's just one coal. So it just does coal things for that, which is super duper nice and super duper awesome. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So Red Heaven is fully operational. We are getting all of the megawatts, and this still looks phenomenal. And then the other thing that we did on stream was upgrade the aluminum processing, because we have some big plans that I'm going to talk about here in just a second. And we also need a bunch of MAM recipes for those, which I will also discuss here in a second. I think the MAM is researching right now. I actually don't remember if the MAM is researching. Let's take a look at that real quick. It is! Yippee! So that's good. The MAM is researching. We want it to be researching because we need research to happen. And I'll explain that. And then what's fun is I can literally just go straight up this thing with the hover pack now. I don't have to do the spiral things anymore, which is nice. But you can already kind of see some of the new infrastructure over there. I meant to hit Alt, not C. Or X, I guess. I think I hit X. But over that way is the nitrogen gas and a couple other things that we're going to end up grabbing. And this way is going to end up being the way that it hooks into the red forest. Because right now the red forest enters here. So it's going to come like down a little bit, and then it's going to follow this river until like here, give or take. Where it's then going to end up coming up out of the depth somewhere by that hard drive and meet up with the main train line right here. And that's going to help for a couple of different things, logistically. But this is the new aluminum plant. You can see we're gathering that coal node. I pointed that out. And then there's a normal coal node over there that we're also gathering. Bauxite node, that's actually fully overclocked. Or, well, 200%. And then so is that one. So it's 960 bauxite coming in. We've got 3 train stations, which I think I am going to use this design at the new aluminum plant as well, because we're going to be importing a bunch of stuff for that. We've got sulfur being imported, we've got quartz being imported, and we've got aluminum ingots being exported. That's important, the export versus import. The pure coal node is like just outside of the range here, and then the quartz load is right there. So right now the quartz has to go down the thing, and then up, and the whole way around, and then through the cave, and then over to here. But what it'll be able to do is either that, or it'll also be able to wrap around this side where this guy is coming from, because there's sulfur nodes here and here, and then come up this way instead. Which I actually might be able to see that train line a little bit. Yeah, you can kind of see it. There's the train line I'm talking about. So there's the cave. There's the way that it wraps around the side and goes to the spiral. And then it also, you can see right there, there's a train. It goes up, all the way up, and then it'll loop around. So it'll have its choice, and I'm sure there's some pathfinding algorithms and stuff that deal with all of it. So yeah, with that said and done, let's get into what the heck the bauxite plant is doing now. We are using the most efficient bauxite recipe, which does in fact use sulfuric acid. I know I'm kind of a stickler for not doing sulfuric acid with different things, but it's 960 bauxite in, 620 coal, 384 water, and 320 sulfuric acid. So we've got 320 sulfur, which is why there's, you know, a bunch of sulfur and stuff. There's also, you know, good old path nodes and everything, because a lot of track crossing, but that's not a big deal at all. Look at that guy go. And then here comes this guy, too, the aluminum hauler. Oh, wow, they're all coming. Look at this. They're all coming in. This is great. This is awesome. We get to watch all this work. But essentially, while all this gets, you know, watched in the background, I'll make sure it's still in view. We've got the instant scrap recipe is the recipe that we're using here, because instant scrap is very, very nice. And look at that, that's beautiful. The instant scrap recipe is a 1-to-2 instead of just a 1-to-1, which is what the normal is, or I think it might be like a 2-to-3 or something. It's better. It's definitely better. I know that much for a fact. And each one of these is making 480 aluminum scrap, and then over here we have the most efficient recipe for aluminum ingots, which is the scrap to ingot instead of the pure scrap, because this is a a 3 to 2 instead of a 2 to 1, so this is better, which is exactly what we want. And obviously, the train took some shit from us, so the whole factory is getting to turn, which is good news. But that requires a shit ton of silica, so we have, in fact, a shit ton of silica. Each one of these is 533.33, which I know, weird number, but that's okay, because it's 133.33, which just so happens to divide evenly by 4. Couldn't tell you why it divides evenly by 4, but it sure does! So that's pretty cool. And then kind of the same thing happening with the scrap. 480 divides by 3, and we have 4 lines of it coming in, which is nice. And everything is overclocked to conserve on space, now that we don't have to worry about power anymore. In the main base, we were concerned about power a lot, because we had to get to the point where we could do Red Heaven off in the clouds over there. So we underclocked a lot. And from here on out, we're going to be overclocking a lot, because we're going to be able to easily use the Red Heaven, and eventually also the Ion Heaven, or I guess it'll be Rocket Heaven first, using rocket fuel, in order to make even more power. Power problems are a thing of the past. We don't have to worry about it anymore. Mostly, it's negligible at this point. So yeah, overclocking is the way to go, with the exception of these. Oh no, these guys are overclocked. I completely did not realize that these guys were also over. But yeah, that kind of makes sense. Oh wow, somebody completely... It's the sulfur hauler. The sulfur hauler completely emptied itself. Huh. Are you still set to load? No, you're set to unload. I'll have to check on that over at the sulfur thing. But for right now, I want to talk about what is next for us. So what's next for us is actually a brand new project. And I'm going to go over to the site that we're going to be doing it. So yeah, I'll be right back. Give me a second. All right, we've made it. So this is going to be the site of our next big project right here. And if you were present when we went around collecting a whole bunch of hard drives, you might recognize this area because we went through the entirety of the dunes and we ended our hard drive hunt in the Titan Forest right next to us. Now, the main thing that we need out of this area, and the main reason why we're building specifically in this area, is because of the fact that there's coal literally just right there. There's some iron, pretty easy to find just right over there. I'll prove it to you. But we don't need a lot of coal, and we don't need a lot of iron. So those are just some easy sources of iron, coal, more iron. The main reason why we want to build in this area is because of the copper, which is just over here at this lake. There's 3 pure nodes. 1, 2, 3. The quartz, which is nearby, which is important for radio control units and a couple of other things. Here, normal, normal, pure. The caterium, which is nearby, that was the caterium, which is nearby. There's a normal node right there, and then there they are. A pure node and 2 normal nodes over here, which are the ones we're actually going to be using. There's water, because we need lots and lots of water. There's limestone pretty much everywhere. I mean, it's limestone. There's limestone everywhere. And then we're going to be able to import aluminum from the aluminum plant, rubber and plastic from the rubber and plastic facility, which we might need to make another one, but there's oil like literally right here, so we can make more plastic and rubber as required, which probably will be required for some of the tier 9 stuff. And then nitrogen gas. There's a nitrogen gas well I've pointed out like 8 times up there, and another one here. So that's all the stuff we're going to be bringing in. Nitrogen gas, plastic and rubber, aluminum ingots, and then everything else is going to be processed completely and entirely on site. And we're going to put it right over top of this lake because I think it's beautiful. And what a gorgeous landscape to just put a giant brick on top of. Am I right or am I right? And I am going to try to make it look a little bit better, just because I feel like that's important. But yeah, literally, coal right there, iron right here, some caterium right there, which is nice. A little sluggy that I'm going to gather really quickly, because we're going to need a lot of power shards for this build. Apparently a Mercer Sphere right here. I think they fixed the Mercer Spheres coming back. There's limestone literally right there, actually. Hang on. Just passed right over top of it. Limestone. Literally right there. Another Mercer Sphere within eye shot of that one. See? Here's another iron. And then somewhere around here is that lake. Might have lost it. Oh, yep, nope, I lost it. I'm way past it. Wonder what's in there. Can't see. There's copper. Oops, didn't mean to actually shoot that. And copper. So that's where that all is, and that's why that's all important. Apparently there's some nuclear stuff right there, but that's okay, because I have iodine filters now. So that's cool. There's some quartz. You can kind of see quartz. Yeah, this is all the quartz, which is nice. And then if we keep going, so this is all just going to get belt bust straight over. Nice. Ah, they did not fix the Mercer. I just saw one that I've already harvested. You can tell because the ones you've already harvested don't have a shell anymore. They're just the sphere. The caterium should be over here. Right? Passed it. How'd I pass it? It says it's here. Is it up? Did it get uppies? Where the heck is the caterium? It should be... Oh. It's a little south. Oh, 150 meters. The hell? Is it in a cave? This is something I neglected to gather information on. Oh, hello. Oh, hello, friends. Do you have goodies for me down here? Oh, yes, you do. Okay, so all of this caterium is in a cave? Oh, wow. Hello. Huh. And then this is the swamp, which is a dangerous biome that I'd rather not be in. That is exactly why I would rather not be down here. Okay, well, good to know. That's in a cave. That was not part of the plan, but okay, now that's a part of the plan. But yeah, no, we need a lot of that. And the reason why we need a lot of that, I can tell that I've been rambling a bit here. But I promise I'm gonna get to the point. Oh, which way I'd like to bring that up. I can either bring it out this corridor, which is kind of near the quartz, or I could bring it out and around. I don't actually know what I'm gonna do with that now. I'll think on it. That gives me something to think on. As if I don't have enough to... But yeah, let me get to the point real quick. Purple slug in the middle of the open. Let me get back to the area over here, and then I'll get to the point is that we're gonna have a whole bunch of train stuff coming up this avenue. So it's gonna be really easy for us to get the trains, you know, off of that main track and then up in this place. We actually might even just have it run straight underneath the factory, which would be really cool in my personal opinion. Hello, friend. You're gonna go away so I can have this area here. Apparently there's more of you. How are you not getting hit by some of these? There we go. Alright. Now then. Just for demonstration purposes. Couldn't care less about that guy. He's dead to me, literally. Okay, so we're going to be making a couple of things here. First on... I just dropped something, don't worry about it. First on the agenda / list is a recipe for radio control units, which we do not have yet. So for now, we'll just reference this one, because it's close enough. But we're going to be making radio control units using a alternate recipe that uses high-speed connectors instead of crystal oscillators. So, and also heat sinks instead of aluminum casings. So it saves us aluminum, and it saves us crystals, and it saves us computer stuff. Yeah, because it's just heat sinks, high-speed connectors, and circuit boards instead. Or actually, no, it's just quartz crystals instead of this. So replaced with heatsink, replaced with quartz crystals, replaced with high-speed connectors. Cool? Cool. Then we're going to use the classic battery alternate recipe here because we get more batteries. And that's going to power the drones that takes all of this stuff back to the main base for space elevator part construction. So that's cool. Then we're going to be making in a blender cooling systems using the default recipe. So this is all the stuff that we're going to be using for this. And then also fused modular frames, again with the default recipe. There is a more efficient, it's called the heat fused frame that uses like fuel and a couple other things, but I really didn't feel like having to deal with the oil and the byproducts and all the BS. So fused modular frames it is instead. And that, you know, makes a lot of sense at the end of the day. Then, supercomputers, which we go back to the manufacturer. Then supercomputers, which we don't have the alternate recipe that I want for this yet. It's called the OC supercomputer, and it uses cooling systems and radio control units instead of all this junk. So, of course, we're going to be using the radio control unit alternate with the high-speed connectors, so we still have to deal with high-speed connectors, but that's fine. That's what all the Caterium goes towards, and that's all that matters there. And it's really, really, really easy. I don't know how else to say it. It's really, really easy. And then the cooling system also happens with all of that, and we saw that, and that's super easy. And then the last thing, we haven't even unlocked yet, but I can talk about it because I've got some in my inventory literally right now. We're going to make these guys. And this is where the iron and coal come in. This is literally the only thing that needs iron and coal. Late game factory games love their copper. Early game factory games love their iron. So keep that in mind. Well, I guess also the fused modular frames needs it a little bit, which I also have some of those. The fused modular frames needs it a little bit because of the heavy modular frames, which need some iron and some steel. But, like, other than that, this is the only guy. Those are the only two guys that need it. So the turbo motors, we're going to use the default recipe, which is just motors, cooling systems, which I don't actually think I have. Oh, I do have some cooling systems. Cool. Cooling systems, and then radio control units. So I do have radio control units being made now. And again, we're going to be using the alternate for the radio control units. So motors, super duper easy. We've seen that before. Cooling systems, also super duper easy. We've seen that before. And then radio control units, also super duper easy, because we've done that as well. I feel like there's a fourth thing for the turbo motor, but I don't actually have the recipe up right now. So we'll assume that that's it for that. And then, yeah, I'll make all this, like, actually properly pretty and actually properly involved once it's time to such. So in the meantime, what I'm going to be doing is a whole shit ton of train work. And if that train work is not finished by the time stream happens, stream is going to be all about trains instead of all about this stuff. But basically, there's a train line that ends right here, and a train line that ends right here. So those two are going to connect right here. But also, this one's going to split off and come down this valley, and then these are going to run parallel to one another, and then eventually they're going to meet back up right, like, here or something, so it can follow the river down this way, and then follow the river down this way into the swamp. We also have a train line that ends right here, and that's where I'm saying it's going to come over, it's going to meet up with the Dunes train that's going to eventually happen, and it's going to just come the whole way up this way, and then meet up with this guy here at this junction, and then meet up with this guy here at this junction. So that is 1, 2, 3, plus a bit, and a bit, and a bit. Train lines that I'm going to be doing off camera. And then, of course, as well, with all of that, we are going to be adding in this extra train line right there. There's going to have to be a big train spiral right there. Then there's also going to be a hauler stop for nitrogen gas that I have to put in up there. And then there's also a train line that ends right here that needs to come through, go up the river, and go around with a junction here to go get this, this nitrogen, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Then that's eventually gonna, it's gonna split and go down this river and meet up here, and then the other side is gonna go this way and go around the whole biome, and then this one's gonna go down here. It's great. I've got this whole plan. It's amazing. So I'm gonna be working on that a ton. And hopefully it's all done. If it's not all done, then we get to do that on stream. But that's going to be it for this one. I know it's a long one, so thanks for sticking around if you did. And if you didn't, I totally understand, and I'm not offended. So yeah, that's it. Thank you, everybody, so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed. But without further ado, adios, sayonara, au revoir, hasta la vista, das vidania, auf Wiedersehen, ciao, and goodbye. Please have yourselves a really fantastic rest of your day. Get some sleep if you need to. Don't forget to stay hydrated. This video is in the bag, and I will see you guys in the next one. Later, y'all.